Everybody's wrong about Shedeur Sanders. He's a cool, calm, collected kid that I would love to hang out with.
If you ain't trying to change the franchise or the culture, don't give me. So you should know history repeats itself over and over and over, and I've done it over and over and over, so it should be no question why an NFL franchise should pick him.
When it comes to on-field play, he's a very accurate passer, can make throws all over the field. He's tough. He's got ice water in his veins.
You can be very, very good in the league. I think Shedeur is much more of a ball distributor and executor of an offense. That's the style of quarterback he is. And by the way, you can be a really good quarterback in the NFL playing that way.
He's one of the toughest quarterbacks you'll see coming out of the college ranks. He'll take hit after hit after hit and keep coming back.
The thing that stands out to me the most is his toughness. I don't think there's a tougher quarterback in this draft class just because some of the hits that he took absolute beatings, not only this season but also last season, even though he surrendered the most sacks over the past 2 seasons, but he still was able to get up and be productive after all of those beatings that he did take.
Not to mention, he's a great teammate. He's very loyal to his wide receivers. You can tell he cares. Things got weird after the NFL Combine. The media started to turn on him, though, citing attitude problems with meetings with coaches and teams, disinterest with teams and everything else. How that changed after the NFL Combine was rather interesting to me.
I've now heard from 3 different people that were in interviews with him. He was not interviewing well at all.
Left the meeting feeling like Shedeur Sanders was not overly concerned with what they thought of him. They had a 15-minute meeting with him, and when they were done, they both said in different ways, different words, that they did not feel like Shedeur Sanders cared all that much about what that organization thought of him.
From what I understand, they called it arrogance. He was kind of coming across as almost if he knew more or his way was better. To go through a read progression.
Shedeur Sanders did not take a professional approach to this interview. He wasn't taking it seriously at all. I didn't get the sense that he was taking it seriously. So when you hear it wasn't a professional approach, and you hear he wasn't taking it all that seriously.
What's funny to me is after the Combine, the media kept bringing up attitude issues with his personality, but no one even mentioned some of the on-field instances that he had, like shoving referees,
Sanders pushes our referee Kevin Marr,
poking players in the eyes, leaving games early, stealing a player's mouthpiece and throwing it into the stands. Of course, shit talking in rivalry games, but who wouldn't do that? That's the fun of playing college football.
Are you a real homeboy? Are you a real homeboy? You that same talking shit on Instagram. You talking on Instagram. All right, keep talking about business. You can't.
Blaming his offensive line for when things go wrong.
I mean, how many times did Raul get touched?
You said what?
How many times did Raul get touched? They was able, like, of course, whenever you able to run the ball consistently, and whenever you able to, then that opens up the pass, you know. But it's just like you gotta understand like what your team good at.
But also on the flip side, he's very mature, cool, calm, and reserved.
I'm able to see what he has done and mentally, how he was able to beat people with the mind. So it's physically.
When you look at his play, he's not perfect. What quarterback is? He drifts in the pocket a little bit. There's debates about his arm strength.
There's a few things with Shedeur that need to be cleaned up. Number one, he has a tendency to hold the ball with one hand when he feels pressure. You know as well as I do that has to be cleaned up in the NFL. And that'll be one of the first things that's cleaned up because you cannot give the ball away in the NFL. And second of all, he has a tendency to retreat backwards. You cannot retreat backwards in the NFL.
There also might be issues with certain offensive schemes.
You're going to get the ball. You get what I'm saying? There was a lot of times last year where we had choice routes and different stuff like that to where it's just like it messed up. I can't anticipate anything.
But after the Combine, things got kind of weird as the media started hating him. And we were wondering, is this because he's Deion Sanders' son?
We have 50 games of him throwing the football in the state of Mississippi, in the state of Colorado, at 2 separate programs at a high level. I couldn't care less about him throwing in Indy indoors. Because again, this is the point I'll make. Last year, it was like, well, arm strength doesn't matter when they were talking about Joe Milton. It's about timing, touch, anticipation, accuracy. This year, Shedeur has timing, touch, anticipation, accuracy, and it's all about arm strength. People can't make up their mind. I just wish people just say, you know what? I don't like his dad, therefore I don't like him. Transitive property, because none of it makes sense.
Or is this because something did happen? Because the attitude problems, all that stuff coming from the media with him being disinterested with certain NFL teams was not a thing till after the combine. All we heard was cool, calm, collected kid. And there's other things you could actually look at that's not being brought up, which one thing you can look at that. But the other thing is, like, it's kind of weird that you're talking about this kid in this light and then bringing up instances that nobody has recollections of. And most of the people out there saying, hey, this is a good kid that's cool, calm, collected, and chill.
The feedback was very mixed. It's not that he is a good guy or a bad guy or anything like that. He's a not for everyone guy. And if you spend any more than 15 seconds around him, I think you get that. You can understand why the boldness, the brashness, it's not going to be for every coach. And I can hear some Giants fans and Raiders fans listening to this saying, well, who cares? Can he win? I get that. Because at the end of the day, it's all that matters. But just talking to teams, you don't get the sense that they're all that excited about making a pick like that.
When it comes to me, he seems like a cool guy. I think he's a guy that's going to get along well with most people. I think in an NFL locker room, he's going to be rather chill.
What you doing wearing that hat?
Man, I'm a Raider fan, man.
All right.
I'm praying for you, man.
You want him to go to Raiders?
I want you to go to Raiders so bad. I hope to God they trade up for you. But
well, everybody trying to make my stock drop right now, so who knows, man?
No, hell no. We're Raiders.
Trying to make it drop.
You know just how life get. But it is what it is. It's fool's gold. It ain't real. Don't believe media. But yeah.
He's also a very accurate passer. Hit a 70% completion rate twice. Nasty at hitting that deep fade in the back of the end zone. Not the most mobile QB, but also needs a little bit more credit there as well. He got some rushing touchdowns at the FCS level. He's not like he's Drew Bledsoe or anything like that.
You're dealing with a guy that at his best is rhythmic. He's a distributor. He's an easy thrower. For the most part, his ball placement is pretty precise. There's a lot to like, but I think he's a ball distributor.
Another thing you want to point out, what would he look like if he was playing for Miami? Playing behind that good offensive line. What would he look like behind some of these other teams that have these top-tier weapons? But what about everybody else? What if he was in Cam Ward's shoes playing in that situation? What would that look like? Maybe the biggest question is, if he goes to the Browns, what would that look like? What are the Browns thinking about when it comes to drafting Shedeur Sanders?
He really does check all of those boxes. And I think that those are some of the reasons why the Browns are really excited about him and why they do really like him. They know how important it is to have the face of the franchise, that leader of the franchise. And sometimes teams will opt for that, what they see in that regard, that leadership regard, over physical traits. And that's what they did in 2018. They liked Josh Allen to a degree, but John Dorsey really opted for Baker Mayfield's cockiness, his moxie. He really liked that in him. So what you're looking for is a culture fit. And I think that they believe that Shedeur stands for all the things that they believe in. I think they like his personality.
Because that might be the biggest question here. Because the Browns, the last 20-some years, 20-plus years, it's been quarterbacks left and right. And sometimes when they leave, I'm looking at Baker Mayfield, they get right. So that might be the issue overall. When I look at Shedeur Sanders, though, and I think about him as a prospect, I think we have good potential of doing big things at the NFL level. I think we have the potential to do so. I think he might need some time to develop, but I think Shedeur Sanders has the ability to carve out a long career at the NFL level and become a big-time prospect. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.